Hey guys, what is up? It is Karen aka cakedbybabyk and welcome back to my channel. Today we are finally doing the long-awaited video of how to get on a PR list, how to ask for PR, the whole PR bubble, if you will. We're gonna try and address it all today. I know this video is long overdue. I was supposed to do it months back, but I think it's actually great that I waited this long because if you didn't know, I started a full-time job working in social media for a company and I work really closely with our PR person. So being on socials and going through DMs, I've gotten a lot of requests from like lifestyle influencers who want to collaborate with the brand that I work for. So because of that, I'm able to compile a long list of do's and don'ts, which I think will be really helpful to anybody watching this video who wants to learn how to get on a PR list. So let's go ahead and get started. I do want to say a few things before I get into like the meat of this video. And that is, if you have not seen the first part of this series, go ahead and click on that video. You guys should already have all those steps completed before you even think about following this video. So go check it out. I'm gonna link it up above in the eye. I still don't know which side it's on. I've been doing this for how long? Who knows? Also wanted to say that if you are in this solely for free product or free makeup, the door is that way. Don't let it hit you on the way out. You are not going to last in this industry if your sole purpose is to receive free makeup or free product. Also, all brands are different, so take my advice with a grain of salt. This may or may not work for all the brands that you're trying to contact. So really do your own research in that sense and get to know what brand you're contacting and their core values and what they stand for, etc., etc. All right, now let's get into the main advice. All right, much like my previous video of have a dedicated Instagram or social media account for whatever industry you want to go to, you need to have a dedicated email. Have it be the same as your Instagram or your YouTube handle. So for instance, my Instagram is cakedbybabyk and my email is cakedbybabyk@gmail.com. It's gonna be easier for you to organize everything. You don't wanna loop it into your personal email. Come on, we're trying to look professional here. Put that email in the bio of all of your socials. So for me, I have it in my Twitter social, my YouTube, and I also have it on my Instagram bio. Some brands like to reach out to you through direct messages and some brands just go straight for the email. So it's really nice to have that on there. Number 2, use products from brands that you want to be noticed by. I cannot stress this enough. You can't really expect to be on a PR list if you don't know anything about a brand and its products. That one's kind of like an obvious point, but still super important. Number 3 is do your research on the brands that you want to work with and see if that aligns with your values. So what kind of products they have, what their community stands for, what the brand stands for, what the core values of the brand are, etc., etc. After you've done that research, try to incorporate that into your feed. For example, I want to get on Benefit Cosmetics PR list and want to get reposted by them. I'm gonna notice that all of their makeup photos, there's like rarely any color. If there is color, it's pink. All the makeup that they repost is super natural and it's all about their brows because that is what their company is centered around. So I'm gonna post pictures about that, and when they go on my profile, they're gonna see that it aligns with their branding, and so you might have a higher chance of being picked for a partnership. Number 4, also kind of self-explanatory, but super important, is tag brands in your photos and also use their hashtags. Again, doing research on what hashtags they use. So if I want to be on Anastasia Beverly Hills PR list, I'm number 1, going to use their products. Number 2, going to tag them in the photo. And number 3, I'm going to hashtag the brand hashtag. And also maybe like Norvina, who is the president of the company, and also, you know, ABH Soft Glam Palette, or just doing research on what hashtags they follow so you have a higher chance of being seen. I think we're at number 5 now, but use other social media outlets besides YouTube and Instagram. Twitter is a great way to get noticed because it is not as saturated. And also now with the rise of TikTok, lots of brands are transitioning to that outlet as well. So it is way less saturated and way easier to become visible to a brand. Number 6 is mostly for people who want to reach out to a brand instead of having the brand reach out to you. So for this, you can do this one of 2 ways, and that is through direct messages or emails. For direct messages, it's easy. You already have a way to contact them, but I'm gonna get into a little bit more detail about that later on. So right now, let's just address emails. A lot of brands use the email pr@company.com, so you can take your chances and try and email that with as many different companies as you want, but there's just like no guarantee that somebody is going to see it. I recommend going on a company's website and seeing if you can find a contact email. Most of the time, brands have it. It'll most likely be under the Contact Us tab or like the Support tab or what have you. Just try and be resourceful is all that I'm saying. You'd be surprised at how many brands put their PR emails like in plain sight. Number 7 is kind of a gray area, but I'm just including this in the video just because there is a right and a wrong way to do this, and that is commenting on brands' pictures promoting yourself. If you want to do that, that's your prerogative. I personally have never done that. Just please don't like spam every single photo on a brand's Instagram feed, like begging them to check you out. I said I was going to talk more about direct messages, and right now is that time. This can also apply to emails because it's pretty general advice, but just to let you guys know, I'm mainly talking in the sense of like Instagram DMs. I have a long list of do's and don'ts, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna do the do's first, all the positive stuff. Number 1 is really, really simple, and that is to address the brand. I get a lot of DMs at work saying, hey, or hi. And I know it's kind of nitpicky, but it honestly seems very unprofessional. Whenever you're drafting a first message to a brand, always address it by the company. If it's Benefit, I would say something like, hi, Benefit team, or hi, Benebabes. Don't just go in there and be like, hey, because that just gives off a level of unprofessionalism, if that makes sense. Number 2 is introduce yourself and give a name. You would be surprised at how many DMs that I go through from people who don't even like introduce themselves, and I'm just like, okay, well, who are you? That is just the simplest, most baseline thing that I can think of, and this person didn't even give me that information. That one is also kind of nitpicky, but I feel like it's important to include. Number 3 is put the purpose of why you're messaging the brand within the first or second sentence. You want to make this short and sweet and to the point, especially if it's going to be over a direct message. Brands go through so many direct messages in a day, so it's really, really important to be clear and concise. Number 4 is give a summary of what your content is about. If you are a lifestyle vlogger, you would say something along the lines of, I am a daily vlogger on YouTube and Instagram, and I document about what I eat, how I work out, my family, etc. You guys get the point. Number 5 is why you would like to work with said brand. It could be that you really love their products or you really align with the company's goals and values. Just make sure to like throw that in there. Number 6, and I cannot stress this enough, is use proper grammar and a professional tone. I cannot stress this one enough. It is so important. Number 7 is if you are on DMs and you still have yet to get that contact email, is that you kindly ask for that contact email so you can discuss further. Keep in mind that this DM or this email is your first point of contact with the brand, so it's really important to keep it professional and think about how they're going to perceive you as a first impression. That first impression and how you write that direct message is going to determine whether or not you get that contact email if you haven't gotten it already. I'm gonna put a little example here of a direct message that I would send to a brand that I want to work with. So I'm just gonna enter that right here, and I'm also gonna have the explanations of why I'm saying things as well. We are now getting into the don'ts. I touched on this when I was going through the do's, but again, do not casually say hi or hey. It just seems very, very unprofessional. Number 2 is do not directly go in and ask for a contact email. So I would definitely recommend introducing yourself first and then asking if you can get a contact email for further discussion. Do not write super long messages and include your analytics. Most of the time, brands have tools to figure this out, and so it's just like wasted breath at that point. Number 4 is do not be vague. I get a lot of messages at work saying, hi, I'd love to collaborate with you. And that's it. Like, yeah, so do like a million other people. Be intentional when you're contacting these brands and write a more in-depth message than just that, hey, I'd love to collaborate with you. But also keep it clear and concise to where the brands are not going to get bored while they're reading your message. Do not ask the brand if they would be interested in collaboration. This leaves room for them saying no. It is so easy to just answer that question and be like, no, we're not accepting partnerships right now. Like I said in the beginning, PR is a business transaction, and most likely, sorry to say, the brands are not going to need you. So avoid saying this. Instead, rephrase this and say something along the lines of, I would love to discuss a potential partnership, or I would love to collaborate with you in some capacity. This one is super important. Do not include your prices. That is a conversation for way down the road. Do not spam their direct messages or their email. You would be surprised at how many people in the industry that I've heard of that say, oh yeah, I spammed them until they finally responded to me, or I just commented on their pictures like nonstop until I was able to get a response. Like, no, we're not doing that. The point is to be as professional as possible, and that is not professional at all. All right, so now that we've talked about wording that direct message, you end up getting that contact email, whoop whoop. Here are the things that you need to do. When writing that email, you need to reintroduce yourself and reiterate your first message on socials. Brands are booked and busy and they get a lot of requests in their inboxes, so it's just good to repeat yourself so they can have a refresher. And also, keep in mind that people who manage social media and people who manage PR could be two separate teams or two separate people. Depending how your conversation over social media or like Instagram DMs went, you may want to include your analytics in this email. Do not go super in depth, but just give a brief overview and also include who your audience is and the demographics pertaining to that. It also may be good to include what type of content that you like to make or what your plans are for the future in regards to your page. Also, it's important to be said that even if you did get a contact email, this does not mean an automatic yes, and it does not mean that you're automatically working with the brand in a partnership or a collaboration. Getting a contact or a PR email is great, but it is just the very, very first step. There are several more rounds of development from that first step. As you get more and more down the line and you're talking to these brands more and more, please remember this overall advice, and that is to be professional in all capacities. Even if it is in an informal channel like Instagram direct messages, you need to stay professional if you want the brand to take you seriously. You are seeking out the brand, so please do not act entitled and act like the brand owes you anything, because they don't. And unless you are a huge influencer, the brand has the upper hand and they can make whatever decision they want regarding whether or not you should be on a PR list or whether or not you should receive product. If you do get on a list, it's important to keep in mind that a brand can take you off of a PR list at any given time. So if they see that you're selling your PR or if you're not including it in content, they have the right to take you off. All right, you guys, I know I threw a lot of information your way and I hope some of it was helpful. Please comment down below if you have any questions. I'd love to help answer them. There is room for all of us in this community, and I love making these videos and telling you guys my advice. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good, and I will see you guys in my next one.